to Scribble Talk, a podcast for bid and proposal professionals. My name is Bhaskar Sundaram, and with my special co-host,
Valerie Kessie,
we will be sitting down with the industry veterans to share their stories, discuss their career, and learn how to make an impact in the industry.
Today's guest is Jeremy Glover. Jeremy Glover is a TS-cleared, certified project management professional with 10 years of proposal and project management experience, with a track record of multiple billion-dollar proposal wins. Jeremy graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Virginia and currently works as a proposal manager lead for Lockheed Martin. Jeremy is also a 2020 APMP 40 Under 40 winner. Welcome, Jeremy, to Scribble Talk. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, Jeremy, where were you born? And could you please tell us a little bit about your high school and your general education?
Yeah. So I was actually born in Arlington, Virginia. So in the Nova area, or DMV area, some of us locals like to call it. I went to school around there as well at Flint Hill High School for high school. And then also for middle school and actually elementary school, I was homeschooled by my parents for that duration of time. So, it's interesting to have kind of like a different type of education coming up. And then, like I said, going off to Flint Hill and then ultimately landing at the University of Virginia, which is out in Charlottesville.
Oh, nice. So once you graduated from the University of Virginia, what was your first job? Was it within the industry or was it something totally unexpected?
No, actually, I'm actually one of the lucky ones that got introduced to the whole government contracting and proposal world through my parents. My dad has been a government contracting small business owner for over 20 plus years. And so right out of college, I went directly to working for them at his small business and kind of getting a foundation of all of government contracting, pretty much proposals. So it's pretty interesting because it's funny, I interned with them when I was in high school and actually in middle school to kind of, get a feel for it. And I absolutely hated it. Like I never thought that I was going to be, go into a career into any type of government contract or proposal or anything, because every time when I was there at the office, it was just like, I want to do something else. So exactly. So it's funny that, once I got older and I kind of, put all the pieces together, it was like, actually, this is not too bad. So, something I can see myself staying in for a while.
Oh, great. So what did you study at the University of Virginia?
So I studied sociology. And so I had to do a lot of writing, a lot of team projects, a lot of team building stuff, team activities. And so it kind of got me indirectly used to the whole proposal environment. Obviously, government contracting and sociology are two different things, but if you think about some of the nuances of it, as far as I was saying, anything that has to do with, team building activities, doing stuff where you're learning about, people and you're trying to utilize a bunch of individuals kind of coming together for a common task, just like how you do with proposals. And so just kind of getting used to the whole people management environment and working in teams and trying to get the best out of your team, it's kind of got me, I guess, prepped for the whole proposal environment. And then also definitely all the writing. Sociology, I mean, we had a paper at least every week. And so it got used to me being in that whole writing cycle, just like you are with, proposals and going through color teams and, building a document. So it was, like I said, indirect experience, but, direct experience at the same time.
Right. It's so interesting to talk to different proposal professionals and see how they come into the industry from different angles, or there was some parts or some facets of their prior experience that led them into proposals. So it's really interesting in that way. Like, even though we're one industry, I definitely do see, a melange of cultures, for lack of a better term.
Definitely. And I think we're one of the few industries that has so many different kinds of people as far as like undergraduate degrees and even like master's degrees and certifications. Because you have people in the proposal profession that have like are highly technical and highly skilled as far as like IT. You might have a whole different person that's, you know, highly skilled in some type of, you know, medicine or pharma research, because proposals stretches to so many different industries, not just, you know, government contracts, but just, you know, commercial contracts. It's a whole other beast in itself. And so I find that I meet people with IT backgrounds, engineering backgrounds, you know, doctors, nurses, you know, sociology, economics, history. Like, I feel like you can have pretty much any type of background and somehow tailor it to proposals.
I completely agree. I completely agree. So once you graduated from college and you worked with your father for a little bit, what was your next step? How did you end up at Lockheed Martin?
So after working with my dad's company, a small business, I kind of wanted to do what I was doing there as far as some type of either business development, capture, or proposals, but doing it on a larger scale. And so I wound up leaving Integris and going to CGI, where I was in the Security Administration, Justice Department, and writing, you know, proposals all the way ranging from, you know, smaller ones in the, you know, $50 million range, all the way up to, you know, the $1 billion proposals. And so I started off at CGI actually as a proposal writer, and then after getting some time with that, I actually moved on to be a project manager down at the Department of Justice. And so I got a sense of how the stuff that we were writing, how it actually plays out in real life scenarios. And it kind of got me a different perspective as well. It's because I always had been in-house as far as on the proposal side, but actually going out there and performing the work that we were writing to kind of just got me a different perspective as far as the whole proposal process.
Oh, nice.
So from there, CGI actually had a couple more stops. So from there, I went on to be a proposal manager at Alliant. That's probably the closest as far as the type of proposals that they do to a Lockheed Martin. They do a lot of, you know, defense work and you know, building different type of like machines and weaponry. So those type of proposals kind of fit in line to kind of like how I was doing now versus like CGI. It was more IT focused, and then Integris was more IT and training and cybersecurity focused. So from Alliant, I went on to be a proposal manager at AT&T. So it got me really diverse into the whole classified side. Pretty much all the bids I worked on were classified. So got to enjoy the wonderful skiff life of being closed out from the outside world. Didn't really know how that all worked until I was gracious enough to be a part of that whole world. But yeah, definitely kudos to people that are in security that do that. You know, I know one of the dudes I met, and he's been in security for 20 years. The only thing he kind of knew as far as working was in the skiff environment. And so, I mean, I was in the skiff for about a year. Trying to do it for 20 years, I don't think I would have made it. I don't. that's just kind of hard. But from AT&T, I actually left there and went to a smaller government contractor, you know, mid-size, SOS International. And that was my last stop before actually I start having actually at Lockheed Martin. I actually start this coming up on Monday. So that'll be my first day.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, congrats.
I definitely appreciate it.
Oh,
So
wow.
it'll be a new journey, new kind of path start. So definitely looking forward to it.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like you have an amazing resume, first and foremost. In either each of these roles or in one role in particular, what was your most memorable proposal effort?
The most memorable proposal effort. That's a good question, because immediately I'm thinking of all the extremes. So I'm thinking of like really good things that happen, and then also like, like really bad things that have happened as far as proposals. But definitely, I would say my most memorable proposal definitely was my first proposal I was on. The first proposal I kind of observed and was brought into when I was working for my dad's company. There wasn't a proposal manager per se, and so I kind of got thrown into that role as far as, you know, I wasn't the official proposal manager, but it was more like, you know, we need somebody to make sure that, you know, things are getting done and we have timelines. So, you know, Jeremy, you know, try to put some stuff together. And I was kind of basically working from my own knowledge as far as just, you know, time management, you know, building Excel spreadsheets, Word, knowing Word documents. Didn't have any type of process, templates to go after, to go off of, anything like that. So it's funny, if I look back at some of those documents, some of them actually weren't bad. It was just like completely made up, just completely, as far as even the compliance matrix that I tried to put together and the proposal outline, it wasn't, it was different. That's a good word, actually. It was just different. I'll leave it at that. But definitely that was an experience that it kind of actually motivated me to be better, because at the end of the day, even though we had all these struggles and I felt like I didn't know what I was doing, at the end of the day, we got the proposal submitted early. We're not fortunate enough to actually win the bid, but the fact that we actually got the proposal in early, we scored really well. They decided to go with the incumbent. So it was, you know, not that much we could do, but the fact that we actually, you know, scored well and put forth a bid that was actually on time and compelling and compliant, it kind of motivated me to be like, okay, if this is what I did with no training and no type of resources and help, et cetera, you know, what could I actually do if I actually put toward a lot of effort toward learning about this and kind of developing my skills, and we're getting really good at this.
I relate to that so much. I used to print proposals out, like at least mock them up, so I could read through it and make sure compliance wise everything was good. And when I was moving earlier this year, I found one of those proposals and I saw them and I was like, oh geez, Valerie, what were you doing? And this was probably like 6-year-old proposal, 7-year-old proposal. So I definitely do see what you mean by that. But, you know, now we're here. Now we're here with different experience and a different ball game. So kudos to us.
Definitely.
So
exactly. Made it through the fire. That's all that matters.
I know, right? So what are your key achievements? What would you describe as your key achievements thus far?
There's a couple things that I feel like I'm a person that always is, you know, readjusting my goals and trying to, you know, reach new heights. But as far as recent things, even just getting the job at Lockheed, you know, I've always wanted to go work for a top defense contractor or a top management consultant. And so, you know, getting the opportunity to kind of build my skills at other companies and get to a point where, you know, I'm getting to manage now, you know, the largest contracts and the contracts that are really, you know, changing the world and changing the landscape of the whole military and the whole, you know, mission space environment, those type of things. I feel like just having being able to have that type of impact, and being able to, you know, showcase, you know, the skills that I've kind of built at different places. I feel like, you know, that is something that, you know, I hold in high regard, and I'm looking forward to kind of, you know, making a, you know, direct impact on their business within the industry. In addition to that, I mean, I would say, you know, certifications are always something that I've tried to continue to build. Just having my PMP, being recently with APMP, getting more involved, not only with the certification, but actually being more involved in the stuff that they're trying to do as far as, you know, events and chapters, kind of building the proposal industry. So I feel like those two things right now are two things that kind of checked off the list. I have some additional things that I'm looking to kind of do in the future. So we'll just have to stay tuned for those.
Oh, nice. We're looking forward to it, Jeremy.
Yeah, exactly. Gotta keep them on it.
I know, right? Three things that not many people know about you.
Well, one, I would say I have a big family. I have 3 younger brothers, 2 older sisters, and so within those, and then my parents, and then now actually I have my sister just had a baby recently, so I have a nephew. Just having that camaraderie and being a part of any type of immediate family event is always an event, just because there's so many people. Our extended family, they make jokes and stuff because it's like, we're not social distancing just by meeting as a family, because we're just so many of us. And so that's something I definitely, like I said, spend a lot of time with my family. They're definitely a big influence on me in the proposal industry and just kind of like my career path and life in general. So that would be something. Another thing, I really love fishing and investing in my free time. I guess I don't know if a lot of people, I don't know how people spend their free time, but fishing to me is something that's, really relaxing. Get out there on the boat, catch some fish, definitely, have a fish fry later, something like that. But definitely something I'm really, really passionate about, want to kind of do more of. I'm the person that's kind of always going out and caught like normal size fishing or normal size fish. I kind of want to do some deep water fishing. I see people like post, with the big, huge fish and stuff like that. I kind of want to do more of that in the future. So that'd be something like to be on my bucket list for something to do later. But and then also, like I said, investing. It's something that over the last couple of years I've kind of gotten more knowledgeable on and gotten more involved in. I kind of see myself in the future. I don't know if it'll be a combination of government contracting and finance, but leaning more toward the finance industry and the finance world. And so it's something that kind of like government contracting, that when I first found out about it, I thought it was completely boring, didn't make sense. But now that I've kind of gotten older and gotten a little bit more knowledge and understanding of it, I'm like, oh, that's actually kind of interesting. So it's definitely something that piques my interest. So might be able to go full on scope on that in the future.
Oh, wow. Did you ever, or have you ever watched Survivor or anything with people, in the great outdoors and deep dive fishing and all of that? Have you ever seen shows like that?
I feel like I'm fine on the boat. The only thing I've seen Survivor, I'm not the wood. See, that's the whole difference. I'm not going in the woods, period. That's just not happening. Like hiking, camping, any of that, I'm just like, let's not do that. I like being outside and getting directly on the boat and then going on the lake or going on the ocean. Like I'm good with that, but just being outside to be outside, that's, especially in the wilderness or the woods, yeah, that's not happening.
Oh wow, that's funny.
Yeah, and I'm strongly passionate about that not happening.
Oh
as
yeah.
You can tell.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Jeremy. I have a couple more questions on APMP. So how long have you been affiliated with APMP, and what are some of your early memories as a member?
So I've been with APMP now, let me think, I think 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2 years. And so I got introduced to it by my former boss, who's an APMP member, Tracy Anderson over at Alliant. Shout out to her, definitely love her. And so she was kind of like involved in the whole proposal community and trying to get involved in chapters and some of the work they were doing, and kind of introduced us as team members to it. And it was interesting because I've had my PMP since 2014. And so I'm familiar with Project Management Institute and, a lot of the events and stuff that they do. But there was nothing that I kind of ever found other than Shipley that really was a proposal certification or a proposal type organization. And even Shipley, they're diverse because they cover, business development and capture management and proposal management all in a business development life cycle. And then PMI, they cover project management. So there wasn't really any type of organization that I ever had been involved with that actually was directly into what I was doing as far as being a proposal manager. So it was really interesting to kind of come together and see people, because there was in APMP, there's proposal manager, there's capture management, there's, business development people, there's a lot of, coordinators and, graphic artists, capture coordinators, all the different proposal writers, all the different pieces within a proposal, being a part of this organization and the focal point actually being proposals and proposal management. So, once I kind of found that out and got more associated with, some of the events that they do and some of and now virtual sessions that they hold because of the whole COVID-19 that's been happening, it's been something that I'm trying to now be more involved as far as the teaching process to get the word out there as far as the proposal profession and really being a focal point, in the local I'm part of the NCA chapter now, and trying to do more to bring awareness to the whole proposal profession.
Oh, nice. Did you say NCA chapter?
Yes.
Have you been able to attend any of the conferences more recently?
The Winning Business Virtually was actually the first, second actually conference. I went to another one, I think that was on pricing a while back, but that was back when they were doing in-person conferences. Now I'm much more avid as far as like watching the webinars and attending the conferences, just because we all have free time because we're all stuck at home. So.
Oh. So talk to us a little bit about your Winning Business Virtual experience.
Winning Business Virtual experience, that was a great, just first and foremost, that was a great conference. And I, honestly didn't know what to expect. I've never attended a multi-day virtual conference, and the fact that they were able to shift what was supposed to be an in-person, conference, then because of the whole COVID thing, and then switched to a virtual conference and set that whole thing up, and the amount of participation and the amount of volunteering that actually went on that was amazing, honestly. But as far as just me personally, I was able to use or kind of reuse a lecture that I've done in the past as far as teaching people that either have little proposal experience or no proposal experience, introduction into the proposal world. And one of the things that has been an initiative actually with the NCA chapter, APMP NCA chapter, is getting awareness to high school and college students, and getting people introduced into the proposal world early and learning about the fact that this is actually a career path and something that, you don't have to have a specialized degree to kind of pursue. And there's many different avenues in which you can kind of pursue this career path. And so one of the lectures that I've given in the past, I kind of reformed it and put it for the APMP conference, is just an introduction into proposals, so that those people that have little experience or no experience kind of can get a firsthand look of what they're getting themselves into, basically.
Oh, that's
and one of the things that I found when I first started working for my dad's company, and the reason why I probably didn't like it at first when I was interning was I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand, what an RFP was, what's the purpose of responding, what are we trying to respond to? All these things I had questions on. And so I was like, since I now have this experience and now can teach others about it, let me break it down in the simplest way possible so that people can understand, proposals in a universal way so that they can actually be interested in it. And then also make it interesting in terms of relatable to high school / college students. So I always tell people, I give the lemonade stand example as far as if the government wanted to sell lemonade, how would they do that if they needed you as a vendor to build a lemonade stand? And so it's really relatable, easy example that people can follow and kind of get a gist of, what proposals entail, what will be my role, how all the questions that I have all kind of get answered through that example. So I was able to give a lecture on that, present it at the Winning Business virtual event, and it went along with, hundreds of other people that had provided content and various different elements through proposals, business development, team working, writing, all these different types of things. So it was something I feel honored to be a part of, and I'm looking forward now to kind of continuing that message as far as trying to get more people involved in our organization, in our profession.
Wow. Very nice, Jeremy. I think I actually watched that video up on the virtual experience site. So kudos to you on that. That's a very good analogy to use, especially the lemonade analogy. So I know you have some certification experience with regards to the APMP. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I actually did the first 2 levels like right after I kind of got associated with the organization. And so I feel like my first couple of months with the organization, it was more of let me obtain this kind of status or just to kind of show that, I have experience in proposals, have, obtained this level of certification and kind of using it that way versus I feel like in the latter, I guess, year and some change from that, once I actually went to some of the events, got to meet some of the people involved and kind of, putting faces and names and all that type of thing. Now it's been more of, instead of kind of, I guess, trying to reach different levels. And even, I've thought about going for the 3rd level, the professional level as far as certification. But to me, I feel like it's bigger than obtaining the certification. It's more of, once you kind of have that knowledge, you have a responsibility to kind of share with others and get people more involved. And so I've been kind of doing more of that instead of kind of pursuing it. I feel like I haven't reached my peak as far as, proposal knowledge, but I feel like I've been in the industry long enough that, I can, reach back and start to get others involved, definitely in the entry and / immediate levels. So.
I see that as being a big component of even APMP. I think the ability to even mentor other people. I recently got into mentoring. Okay, maybe not recently. I was saying a couple years back. But then I recently started to really enjoy mentoring and being able to give back because, if you have all this wealth of knowledge, it only feels right to do so or to be able to, educate others or at least mentor others who are coming up in the field, for sure.
Definitely. And it's funny you say that too, because I've always, I always thought that I could be a good mentor. I just never thought that I'd ever be in a position to kind of mentor, because with my job now, I usually always work with people that are older than me. And so, that whole dynamic is just like, what am I, mentoring somebody that's older than me? Like, what, I don't really know what to tell them, stuff like that. But I feel like with proposals, it's one of those unique environments where I feel like age really doesn't come into play. It's more of people just, accept you as far as just what your skill level is and what you actually know, and take that at face value. And there aren't as much, for the most part, politics involved as far as age discrimination, race discrimination, gender discrimination. It's more of how can we collectively put this together in order to meet the common goal, which is win this proposal. So I feel like it's a unique, diverse environment that allows you to be mentored not only to people that are younger than you, but even people that are older than you that are just less experienced.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like I mean, the last time I met somebody that, we had a conversation about their mentoring experience and their career. And funny enough, they told me that, they have a master's degree in math, and it didn't even faze me because I'm like, we're all a melting pot. It's fine. It will work.
Mm-hmm.
Aspects of your
exactly
here. Okay, so my last question with regards to APMP is, I know you were a recent 40 Under 40 award winner. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
So what does that award mean to you?
So it's funny you asked that, actually, because I didn't even know the 40 Under 40 was a thing until actually about a couple of weeks before the nomination was due, honestly.
Wow.
And so I just started getting more involved in the APMP chapters and getting involved in some initiatives and whatnot. And then I think I got an email or something. And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm not, near 40 yet. So thinking, 40 Under 40 award, that's probably for, established proposal managers, veterans in the industry, stuff like that. And so I didn't really kind of think of that as myself until I met Rick Harris, kind of got more involved, told him my story and everything. He was like, you sound like somebody that, that could be, a real asset to the organization. And, you should apply for the 40 Under 40 award. And so, I talked to my organization about it, got a sponsor to, write a letter on my behalf, and got, the news that I'd actually been a winner. And it's been one of those things where I've been more happy with the connections that I've made in the APMP organization just by winning that award versus the actual award in itself. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a great, honor. I'm, definitely honored to be able to accept it and have a place, et cetera. But as far as just the outpour of the organization and the, how people are so connected and willing to network and reaching out just to kind of say hi and kind of wanting to learn my story and all these different type of things, that to me has been, the biggest takeaway as far as the 40 Under 40, just the connections that I've been able to make and the outpour of people just wanting to learn more about me, just about the profession, just, what I've done in the past. And so to me, that's just been really special.
Wow, Jeremy. So I was asked this question and I did not even think about that, but I am totally on board with you. I definitely do see the connections and being able to relate to other individuals across different industries, different continents. I think that has been, the most rewarding experience for me as well. So yeah, I'm definitely on board with you on that one.
Definitely.
So I will pass the mic to my co-host, Bhaskar, to ask you a little more questions.
Hey, yeah, thank you, Valerie. Thank you. So, Jeremy, how was it working with your father?
Oh, well, he's definitely gonna listen to this, so I got to be really careful with the words I say next, coming out of this. But in all seriousness, though, I feel like it changed my entire career and my entire career path. working under him and getting to learn firsthand. Because for most people, when you graduate college, you take, either your experience that you've had in the past or your degree, and you're in some type of entry to intermediate type role when you have might have a manager or a director, or maybe if you're lucky, you have like a VP, supervisor, or stuff like that in order to, supervise your work and learn more about the organization. But for me, being able to work directly under my dad, him being the CEO of the company, it got me experience that I never would have gotten anywhere else. If I had taken any other job out of college, I never would have gotten that experience of how a business is supposed to run and how to actually run a business. And so I always say I'm lucky as far as how I fell into government contracting, because my first job, I got to learn about pretty much every position within government contracting, because working for a small business, as a lot of people know, you're wearing multiple hats. You're not just doing what your job title kind of says. For me, I worked in pretty much every position in the business development life cycle. I got to learn about business development, got to learn about capture, got to learn about pricing, got to learn about accounting, got to learn about recruiting, got to learn about proposal and writing and production, graphics, all these different types of skills. And I got a taste of each one of them. And it's one of those things that kind of has made me a unique proposal manager, because of that foundation of learning about how all the kind of pieces fit together, to build the proposal puzzle. And so for me, it's been one of those grateful experiences that I wouldn't take back to the world. And I'm just lucky and blessed to kind of have someone like that was willing to, take me under their wing and kind of give me my foundation as far as, my career path and what I've been able to achieve so far.
That's nice. And how was the perception of your father, like at work, at home? Did you find any kind of demarcation? Here we go. Now we are at home. Now we are at work. How did you balance that? And how did you see your father the moment you started working with him and before working with him? Did you see any changes in yourself in the perception?
Another good question. I would say it wasn't that much of a shift as far as the dynamic that kind of came between us, because my dad has always been someone that's been in my corner and that's been in a kind of teaching position. When I used to play youth sports, he would always be the coach of whatever sport I was playing. Basically, he'd always be the person that volunteered, be that person that was trying to teach me as much as he knew about whatever our thing I was involved in. And the stuff that he didn't know as much about, like when I got involved in music per se, he was always that person that, was in my corner, driving me to recitals, driving in the stands, whether if it was an athletic thing or if it was an event or performance or something like that. And so we kind of always have had that type of relationship. And so for me, it's like when I was working for him, I didn't really see it as much as a job, as more as, I'm helping build something that I could later, take and run myself and build for, the next generation of our family. And so as far as the whole dynamic, it really didn't change as far as in the office versus at home, because it was a dynamic that we just kind of have always had throughout our life, pretty much. I definitely can say we've definitely been on BD trips or matchmaking sessions and stuff like that, and he would throw out a joke or kind of trying to embarrass me in front of a customer and stuff like that, just to kind of feed off each other. So that is a little the dynamics that we kind of like played in, but I feel like overall it's always been something that's been kind of easy to kind of manage work and home because we're always on the same page.
So you mentioned that you are part of a bigger family. Do you have a memorable Christmas?
We definitely have a memorable Christmas. I feel like every holiday that we spend together, there's always something that happens that makes it memorable. And like I was telling Valerie, it's by default because there's so many people. When you have, there's so many options of things that can quote unquote go bad because there's so many people that it can actually happen to, or something that can happen. And so it's always, as I said, in a literal event when we get together as a family because there's so many of us.
Got you. And you mentioned that you do fishing as well, Jeremy. What's the quickest time you actually got a fish, and how long did it take? Was there any longest experience that you had that you were just waiting for like an hour, more than an hour, and fish never came? Did you had any experience of both?
So I've had both sides of the extreme when it comes to fishing. I've been out fishing all day. I think we were on the lake probably 7-8 hours. Didn't catch a single fish. Probably got maybe 3 or 4 bites, and never even, like I said, caught a single fish. I've also been on the flip side of that, where we were at a fishing spot and we literally couldn't get our poles back in the water fast enough from after we had taken a fish off. It got to the point where at first we were fishing with 2 poles, so we kind of like would just check on both of the poles. The fish were coming in so fast, like we had to like navigate to one pole, and throwing over to somebody else in the boat, because it was literal just every time you put your hook in the water, a fish would be on there, and you had to try to catch it, reel it in. And so and it's one of those things. That's what it's like. Fishing is kind of like going to the casino. You don't know what the outcome is gonna be when you go there, but you go for the thrill. Like you want the outcome to be positive, but if it was one of those things where if only the outcome was not gonna be positive, there wouldn't be that many people that go to the casino. Because they know that over time they're going to lose. You're gonna go on a fishing trip, you're not gonna catch that much fish, you're not gonna get that many nibbles, but you go because you just want to experience the thrill of actually being out there, the thrill that it could potentially work in your favor, just like with the casino. That's what gets you to it.
Got you, Jeremy. And what did you tell to yourself when you were standing there fishing and for 8 hours you get nothing? How did you keep yourself motivated there?
Hey, what you do, you just got to see. It's like, all right, well, you tried this spot, maybe this spot would be good. Well, there's a nibble over there. Maybe if we're able to get one nibble, we can all throw our poles over. You just start thinking of different strategies. We all throw our poles over there. That might be able to attract the school of fish. So then, we'll get a multiple bite. You just keep trying to tell yourself things that keep yourself relaxed. You probably will eat a little bit more food on the boat, do a little bit more chilling and whatnot. But it's one of those things where you always have that confidence that the next time I throw my hook in there, I'm going to catch that fish. It's just something you got to have. I feel like fishing is one of those hobbies or even sports that you just got to have confidence. It's kind of like, I always give analogies and whatnot when I'm on proposals. Like another analogy is like basketball. You go out there and a game, you miss 10 shots. If you're a real shooter, you believe the next shot that you shoot is going to go in. It doesn't matter if you miss 100 shots. The next shot you shoot, you believe like it's going to go in. So the next time I throw my pole in the water, I'm believing I'm going to catch a fish. I tell myself that I'm going to catch a fish. And if it doesn't happen, guess what? Next time I'm going to catch. I still have that same redundant confidence that it doesn't matter how many times I'm failing. It's a confidence thing. It might even be an ego thing. I don't know.
Well said, Jeremy. Well said. Okay, Jeremy, we before we move into the official random rapid fire question round, which we call now the Nutters round, in honor of Howard Nutt. Um, do you remember you shared two truths and a lie in Scribble Talk, Mix and Mingle? Maybe this is the time you could share that to the listeners, and we leave it to them to find the truth, because as you know, not all will be listening, but we have listeners here to this, but not many have come to that live episode. If you can share the two truths and a lie that you mentioned, we will officially begin the Nutters round.
Sounds good. So I would first like to say that just like Howard got his, and I know I'm in no way league, shape, or form, and as far as like what he's done in the organization, I definitely appreciate all of that. But on a side joke note, I feel like I need to have some type of affiliation or name for True Truth and a Lie, because after my performance during the Winning Business Virtual, I think that I pretty much set the standard for two truths and a lie. I'm throwing that out there, throwing that for all the listeners, especially all the people that got to be in the session. Put that as a petition. Mark me down. We need to name this after Jeremy. That whatever the case may be. All right, so we're good with that. But my two truths and a lie, if I remember correctly, I said one of them was I have been picked up by a sitting U.S. president. Another one was I was in a movie with Will Smith. And the third one was I have a small, sweet little dog.
Nice.
Okay. So do you want me to reveal what it is, give people time to think, or do you want me to have a different type of reveal? What do you want?
We will leave it as it is, Jeremy. Let them write the answers. Let them come back to you and ask you directly.
Let them come back. Okay, got you. As I request, if you're coming back with the answer, also make sure you sign the petition to get Jeremy's name on Two Truths and a Lie. Get that official. Mark it down. I like it.
100%, Jeremy. 100%. So yes, so let's do the rapid questions now. Number one, if you were attending a Halloween party, what would your costume be and why?
Batman, in and done, automatic. Because number one, Batman's best superhero by far, hands down, not even close. I don't want to hear any arguments. I don't want to hear any debates. By far, that's number one. Number two, I don't need number two because I just explained why in number one. It's I'll tell a quick funny story. You know, the rapid fire question. When I was doing my Lockheed Martin interview, we had a Zoom call, and I didn't even realize it because the last Zoom that I'd been in was like a family call that I did with my family. And so my display name said Batman. So I logged in, and I'm saying hi to everybody. And the hiring manager, and who's actually my boss now, he was like, "Oh, I didn't know we had Batman in the room. We need to make sure we're really careful about what things we say, or he might come after us or something." And so since then, it's been an all-standing joke. Pretty much everybody that has heard about me, that joined the company, has messaged me about, Batman, we're excited for you to come. I talked to the HR lady who's like setting up my desk, stuff like that. They said that they're going to put like a Batman theme within my cubicle and whatnot. And so it's just, I feel like it's going to be a long-standing joke as far as having that Batman display name. And so now I'm like, when we have meetings, I might just have to, go as Batman now instead of Jeremy. Like, might be the new thing. But yeah, sorry. Back to rapid questions. I'm ready.
And no, Jeremy, I think that's the whole purpose of this podcast, because we can talk in length about proposal best practices and stuff. But at the end of the day, all people remember is the human element of who you are. And, what Definitely. You told about fishing and what you now told about Batman, I'm sure is what people will take away than actually what you talked about proposal management.
Exactly, yeah.
That's live.
Oh, man.
That's great. So, okay, let's continue. If you could be invisible for a day, what would you do?
Ooh. invisible for a day. I would find a legal way to get more money into my pockets. That's we can leave it at that.
That's brilliant. And what's that one food you could never bring yourself to eat?
I don't know if I have a particular food that I wouldn't eat. I will say there is a particular restaurant that I would never go to, and it's not even that it's like a terrible restaurant or anything like that. But I'll give another quick story. So growing up, my parents, I still to this day, we joke about it. We don't know why. My parents loved Boston Market. And Boston Market was in this kind of like a complex of our neighborhood of stores and different restaurants. And it was by far like the worst option within the scale of restaurants. Like there was Outback over there, Olive Garden, Red Lobster, Checkers. We got Boston Market pretty much every Sunday. It got to the point where like I hated Sundays. And that sounds as bad as that sounds. Even like it was like I knew Boston Market was coming, and I got to the point where like now it doesn't matter. I got an email from Boston Market that said you get to eat here free for the rest of your life. I wouldn't go because that's how strongly I feel about not eating their food because I was just destroyed by it in my childhood.
If given a chance as the President of United States, what would you do on your first day?
On a serious note, I feel like I would have to address some of the stuff that's going on in today's climate, especially being an African American, and the racial tension that's been happening in our country. So I feel like the first thing I would be looking into is some type of police or justice system reform to help people of color. I mean, it's been something, systemic racism has been something that's been generations and generations, and we could have a whole another podcast on that. But it'd be something that if I was in that type of position of power, I would want to make sure that I would do something that wouldn't just impact me, but have an impact on the people that look like me. Because as I always say, I'm fortunate that I got to fall into the government contracting industry, and that I had, a dad who was an owner of a small business. But I know for the majority of people that look like me, that's not the case. And there aren't opportunities that come like that. And it's one of those things where I even look at my parents, even though, they have built themselves into success and being able to be, business owners and all that. But, they came from very, very humble beginnings, and grew up very, very in low income situations. And so I have been able to see kind of firsthand, what that's like being in those type of environments and not having access to the same things that I've been privileged enough to have access to. And so that like I said, that would be something that I would, definitely take very seriously, and definitely would try to change, the life of African Americans in our society.
If you are chosen to make a dinner for a very special guest, who will you invite and what will you cook?
See, for me, I feel like, and there might be the boring answer, but I would either have to invite my family, or my lovely girlfriend, and it's not because I have plenty of people I can think of, the Barack Obamas, the Oprah Winfrey, being able to pick Elon Musk is mine, that I think of, that I'd be like, I would definitely want to have dinner with them. Like that experience, would be, mind blowing. But for me, I always say, the people that are closest to me, those are the people that I care about the most. So if I was doing something as far as cooking, going out of my way to, prepare something special, I would definitely want them to be the ones that's the benefactor of that, instead of thinking more of myself and thinking, okay, if I invited a Barack Obama or Elon Musk, I'm the one that would be getting more benefit out of that. So, and then as far as what I would cook, my favorite thing to eat is chicken. So it would be some version of that, probably throw it up in the air fryer and have some, I'd probably actually do a soul food meal. Have some chicken up in the air fryer, have some side of mac and cheese, maybe some yams, some greens. Ooh, man, that would do it. That would do it right there. And I'd invite you too, Bhaskar. You can come through, have some of that soul food. That would do it.
Yes, me, Valerie, actually, we all will be there. And I think this response, whoever hears that, I think will be very proud that your parents have brought you up in a really good way. Anybody who says that, as a special guest, I want to invite family, and that means a lot, and you should be super proud of yourself. And I'm sure your parents should be super proud of the way they brought you up. It's amazing, unbelievable. I wish my children say the same. I'm not sure, but I hope so. I hope so. So let's say that. If you could visit any place in the world right now, where would you choose to go and why?
I'd say Brazil right now. That would be and just because of just the culture, and definitely being out there on the beaches. That would probably be my number one choice on my bucket list right now. So we'll see.
Hopefully you are going to a place in Brazil where there is not much COVID impact, considering they are the top.
Yeah, see, and that's the crazy thing. I'm like, well, I feel like it's bad enough as it is here. It's like where we go, I feel like it's probably better wherever we went outside of the country. So I don't know. Travel, that's going to be an interesting thing as far as just travel in general, how that's going to work over the next, year or so, definitely. So we'll see.
So we touched about family, we touched about work, we touched about other passions of yours as well, Jeremy. So what have you observed lately that reminded you that people are good and kind?
I feel like just the whole COVID environment, and the way people have been navigating, whether it's family or extended family or friends and whatnot, just the little things as far as, just checking in, maybe I can't come see you because of, what I've been doing recently or whatever. And so I might be at risk, but I'm still going to check in, I've been on more FaceTime calls than ever. I mean, I'm not even talking about with work in general, just because obviously everything right now is over virtual. But as far as just outside of work, I think I've been on more FaceTime, Zoom, Skype type calls with family, extended family, friends, just having just conversation just to make sure, during these crazy times, you're doing okay. You're whether that's, your mental health, physical health, whatever the case may be, but just checking in on, I feel like just that whole environment has kind of showed me a lot of people's true colors as far as, people that can take time out of their day to kind of make sure that, things are going well because of the uncertain situation that kind of surrounds us both. So.
What is that one trait you really like the most about yourself?
I think I'll go back to the confidence. It's the same, like as I was saying with if I missed 100 shots, I'd shoot that 101st one, I think, and I definitely think it was going in. If I'd been out fishing, I could go fishing, and not catch anything for a week. And the next day there's a fishing tournament, I think I'm going to win. I'm not really that much of a chess player, but I could go and play chess against the #1 rated chess player in the country. If I sit down and go against them, I think I can win. And that's the type of person that I am. as far as, and I feel like it makes me not only a good proposal manager, but just, you know, a good leader and mentor in general, because I'm always that type of person that it doesn't really matter what the obstacle is. I always think there's something I can do to figure out a way to you know, achieve whatever the goal is or whatever the objective I'm going after. And so for me, I've been through enough obstacles now in my life that it's no longer something that I fear or that I get, you know, doubt about, because in the back of my mind, I'm always telling myself, you know, we'll figure it out. We might fail today, we might fail next week, we might fail next year, but we're going to figure it out. You know, we're going to keep, you know, getting up until, you know, we figure out a way to achieve whatever the objective is. So I feel like sometimes some people might call it irrational confidence, but for me, it's just how I was raised, it's how I kind of was built, and it's one of those things that it doesn't matter if it's work, school, hobbies, activities. I had that competitive confidence where it doesn't matter what we're doing, it doesn't matter how good the person that I'm competing against is at it. I always think there's a way I can figure out a way to be successful and win. So,
brilliant, Jeremy. So, the last two questions from me. The first one: who's the kindest person you know?
The kindest person I know by like light years definitely would be my mother. The fact that she was able to raise the six of us, as crazy as we are, just speaks for itself. If you meet my family, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Or if you, like I said, if you come over to dinner for that event, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And so, yeah, she's been the inspiration for me outside of the work environment. I feel like my dad's always kind of been the inspiration in the work environment, and my mom has kind of just been inspiration just in life. And a lot of those, you know, life skills you take for granted, and it's really not until you're in certain situations, whether good or bad, that you kind of realize, like, wow, like I'm blessed, fortunate to have somebody who actually cared about things that I probably wouldn't even cared about just because, you know, I'm a young adult, you know, just living life. And for her, you know, she's always been the one that made sure, you know, as you said, like, oh, you know, Jeremy, I feel like you were raised the right way. Like that's my mom coming out of me. Like the things that I say and stuff like that, that's my mom teaching me, you know, soft skills that I didn't even know that I needed, you know, or that would be important in life. But, you know, now that it's coming to fruition, I'm just blessed to be able to have somebody that would actually focus on those types of things.
Perfect, Jeremy. 100%. So in addition to mom, is there any other people who have been the most influential in your life and career so far?
Well, see, I've spoken about my family a lot, so I'll try to put somebody outside of my family. One of my biggest mentors has been a man named Reginald Kitchen, and he was not only just growing up like a sports mentor for me as far as, you know, coaching and assisting in like training and developing, but he was the first sports coach that I met that spoke about things bigger than basketball and always talked about how life was bigger than basketball. And, you know, growing up, that's the only thing I kind of really thought about is, you know, I want to be, you know, a professional athlete or, you know, a businessman, be successful, all these different types of things. But I didn't really ever think about, you know, no kid ever thinks about all like the nuances of life and the different things that, you know, the challenges that were ahead and all that type of stuff. And he was the only person that I won't say the only person, he was the first person that kind of was trying to do more than just make me a better athlete. You know, he wanted to make me a better person, and he taught me skills. And after every practice, actually, one of the things he would say is knowledge is the key to open all doors. And it was something that I used to always say when I was little, and I really didn't understand fully like what that meant. It's kind of like, oh, that's our rallying cry at the end of our workout. And it's been something that now that I've actually gone through high school, going through college, getting ready to go to what's called business school in the fall, and having all these certifications, being a proposal manager, having that type of experience, it's been something that I realized like what he meant by that, and how the knowledge that I've been able to obtain in my career so far has opened up a lot of doors that probably wouldn't have been opened otherwise.
That's nice, Jeremy. And that's about it, I think, from me. So we have one or two more questions from Valerie, and we will just see.
Thanks, Bhaskar. So Jeremy, what is one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
The one thing I wish I had known, I wish somebody would have told me the truth about the proposal environment. before I got involved in it, I wish somebody would have been just like clear-cut and honest with me about all the things that happen within the proposal environment. It's been something that I've learned now from experience, and it's why I feel like I can, I am a good mentor, because I'll give it to people straight about, the pros and the cons. But I just felt like I was introduced, and I thought like this was literally just like writing papers, basically. And it was like, oh, well, you do that every week, in school, so you'll be really good at this. And it was like, oh, I didn't realize it was all of this.
So I guess with that being said, what kind of advice will you give to somebody wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
I would say that, number one, if you do want to get into proposals, focus on a proposal area that you feel like you'll be really good at. Because I always tell people, I work with some of the smartest people on the planet. I'll be getting as far as on proposals. And some of the people that are involved in like the technical strategy, especially like people, that are involved in the technical strategy of building a satellite or of building a spaceship. And it's like, to be able to actually understand and comprehend that is world, to me. But people are confused or don't understand always. It's like, well, how could someone like you, who doesn't have that level of knowledge, be the quote unquote manager over that person? Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. How's that person going to temporarily report to you for the next 2 months? Like, how does that whole environment work? And so when I tell people about the proposal profession, I always tell them, like, everybody's not a proposal manager. Like, that's not for everybody. There are some people that, proposal writers, those proposal managers, other coordinators, other graphic artists, BD salespeople, there's capturement. Like, there's so many different roles in the life cycle. So I advise is, do the degree that you think, that you want to pursue as far as your career path, as far as what you want to do. It might be something where I always knew, like, I'm not going to be a sociology professor, or I'm not going to be like a counselor or anything like that, like I guess a traditional person would do with sociology. But I knew that if I was able to just build, skills that are related to the proposal profession, which is pretty much almost all skills, then I'll be able to kind of just fit in where I fit in once I actually got within the industry. And it's one of those things where, especially like the entry-level roles, getting into proposals, you can be a coordinator and kind of just get a touch of everything you want to do. And then kind of from there, decide, do I want to be a proposal manager? Do I want to be a proposal writer? Am I more technical? Am I a person that likes to, sell people things? Am I a person that's more likes to do stuff in the background as far as writing, or just as far as actual performing the work, and then just kind of be a person that people might interview, as far as like being a SME interview and giving information for someone to write on. And so it's one of those things, because there's so many different roles, I would just say, like, do what you're passionate about, and then take that and find out where that can lead you within the proposal industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good answer, Jeremy. So for my last question, what is next for you?
What is next? That is a good question. So, well, immediately next, Lockheed Martin is coming up. So like I said, my first day will be Monday. So that journey will start in itself. In addition to that, I will either start school at NYU Stern or Wharton University of Pennsylvania for my MBA in 2 weeks. I'm still undecided at this point, but I will be making a decision within the next week. So I will, like I said, we're starting that. I'll be in the executive MBA program, so I'll still be working full time at Lockheed Martin, as well as doing the classes on the weekends. It's something that actually kind of fits in perfect to my work schedule. So we have what's called a 980 work schedule at Lockheed. So every other Friday we have off, and then with the EMBA program we have class every Friday, Saturday, or some Sundays too, every other weekend. So I just kind of that Friday that I'm off, I'll be in school for that weekend. So it's definitely something, like I said, new job, going back to school after being out of school now, 6 years since college. So it definitely be, like I said, a new experience. I'm definitely trying to use my MBA to kind of propel me to be more of a business leader and take on more business responsibility. So hopefully I'll be able to, like I said, parlay that into bigger and better things and come back on the podcast to let you guys know what those things are.
Oh yeah. I'm excited to know what's going to happen, which one you're going to choose. Are you leaning towards one versus the other, or you're pretty much just going to write pros and cons for each of them?
Right now, it's kind of like in a stalemate, and so there's different pros and cons as far as scholarship money for each, and travel and all that type of stuff. My youngest little brother actually is undergrad at UPenn, and so that whole dynamic would be nice, even though we'll both be at home because of COVID. They're not having any in-person classes, so that kind of killed that dream about going to school together, quote unquote. But it like I said, it's something that I will announce on LinkedIn within like the next week. And so, like I said, I'm just kind of taking in the last kind of subtle factors before I have to make a decision.
Yeah, of course. That totally makes sense. Well, that's my last question, but it was really great talking to you, Jeremy.
Definitely, this was fun. Like I like it. I've been thinking actually of starting a podcast of my own. I've never actually been on someone else's podcast, and so this, like I said, been really cool. I'm kind of debating what's going to be like the theme of my podcast, but after kind of going through you guys' podcast and looking at some of the previous episodes, like this is like really good. Like this, and I'm not I'm not just saying that because I'm on right now. I'm just saying, like, before I was on, I looked you guys up and everything. I was like, wow, like I'm impressed by this. Like this is actually some really good content on here. So definitely kudos to you guys, Bhaskar, you and Ashley, what you guys have been doing so far, and then even Valerie helping out and co-hosting. Like definitely kudos to you guys.
Thank you, Jeremy. Jeremy, is there any part of your life or career, or is there anything else you would like to say in the last 1 or 2 minutes before we close?
I'm gonna keep the audience wanting more. So I'll just say that bigger and better things are on the horizon with the new job and school coming. So like I said, I'll to be back, so I give you guys an update on those bigger and better things.
Thank you, Jeremy. That's beautiful. So, Jeremy, so thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute privilege to have you with us at Scribble Talk, especially with Valerie coming as a special co-host as well. It's a multi-memorable episode. Wish you all the good health and happiness. Please do continue to inspire bid and proposal industry colleagues and everybody around you. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and please do convey our regards to your special family out there.
Definitely. And like I said, thank you for having me. This has been great.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Valerie, for joining us as a special co-host on this episode as well.
Of course.
To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Please visit bachelorsscribble.com/podcast to listen to this episode and check out any of our other previously recorded episodes. If you've enjoyed today's interview, don't forget to subscribe, review, and share the Scribble Talk podcast. We hope you'll check out our next episode where we interview another industry expert and special guest. Until then, it's Ashley Kays,
Pastor Sundram,
signing off.